Okay, ever get that feeling like you're walking into a conversation where somebody is just going to do some serious accountability gymnastics?
Yeah.
Or maybe you're just like curious about the psychology of blame. Why does my Uncle Bob always blame Aunt Susan when he spills his wine?
That's a great
So
example.
it's like clockwork every holiday.
Right. We see these accountability dodges everywhere.
Oh, yeah?
And often they're disguised with humor, but they can really have consequences.
Exactly. And that is why we're doing a deep dive today.
Yeah.
Into this whole world of blame shifting.
That's right.
We are going to be guided by Daniel Boyd's podcast episode
Okay.
called Look What You Made Me Do, and other classic accountability dodges.
Catchy title.
Right. So we're going to unpack those sneaky tactics,
Yeah.
the psychology behind them, and figure out how to respond effectively.
It's important because it's not just about avoiding those awkward dinners or office drama.
Right.
Dodging accountability really impacts relationships and personal growth,
Oh.
even societal progress.
It's like that saying, you can't build a strong house on a shaky foundation.
Exactly.
If you don't have that accountability.
Right. So let's start with the foundation.
Okay.
Understanding those classic dodges that we see.
Yeah.
Daniel Boyd lays out kind of a top 10 list.
Ooh, a top 10. Okay. I love it.
Buckle up because they're very relatable.
Okay.
The first up is the gold medal winner. Look what you made me do.
Okay.
Ah, yes. The classic blame shift.
I know this one.
It's all about absolving oneself of any responsibility by putting it squarely on someone else's shoulders.
Oh, I have a coworker who does this.
Yeah.
Missed the deadline because I didn't give clear instructions.
Classic.
But it's like, come on, you could have just asked.
Exactly. And it plays on that fear of conflict.
Yeah.
You know, it protects their ego.
Mhm.
It's easier to blame than to actually face potential consequences or feedback.
Right.
But in the long run, that erodes trust.
Yeah.
It damages relationships.
Totally. It's not good.
Not a good one.
Okay, up next.
I wouldn't have if you hadn't.
Oh, that is a close relative.
Yeah, it's like blame shifting with justification.
That's like a combo.
It's a combo.
Oh, I hate this one.
My bad action is only because of your action.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
I wouldn't have lied if you hadn't been so nosy.
Yes, exactly.
Suddenly it's my fault that they're dishonest.
Right.
Ugh.
But, you know, it taps into our desire for harmony.
Right.
And for fairness, we want to believe
Yeah.
that there's justification for bad behavior.
We want to make sense of it.
We do, but by accepting that framing, we're enabling the cycle to continue.
So we got to nip that in the bud.
We do.
All right, next up is a personal pet peeve.
Okay, let's hear it.
What about what you did?
Oh, the whataboutism.
This is a conversation derailer.
It is whataboutism at its finest.
Uh,
And it's not about genuinely addressing the issue,
Never.
but about creating a distraction.
Yes, you try to talk about a problem,
Right.
and they bring up something totally unrelated from the past. And it's like, can we just stay focused?
Right.
Please.
It's fascinating how effectively this triggers our own defensiveness.
Oh, it totally does.
We suddenly are scrambling to justify our past actions
Yes.
instead of holding them accountable for theirs.
It's like, wait a minute. How did we
get here?
get here?
Yeah.
It's a masterclass in avoidance.
It is.
By the time you've untangled that mess, the original issue is gone.
Exactly. It plays on our sense of fairness.
Yeah.
We want to point out, we're not the only ones who made mistakes.
Right.
But we lose sight of the current problem.
That needs addressing.
Yes.
That needs addressing.
Exactly. Okay, this next one
Okay.
is a classic.
All right.
You're overreacting.
Oh, yes. Guaranteed to make you question your own sanity.
Oh, 100%. It's like gaslighting almost.
It is. It is the dismissiveness dodge.
Oh, okay.
To completely undermine your feelings and experiences.
Right.
To avoid responsibility.
It's like my actions weren't the problem. Your reaction is. Exactly.
So manipulative.
It is. This tactic invalidates your emotional response, makes you question your own perceptions,
Yeah.
and even apologize for feeling hurt or upset.
Ugh, I hate that.
It highlights that crucial aspect of accountability,
Okay.
respecting others' feelings,
Yes.
even if we don't agree.
It's about acknowledging the impact,
Yes,
not just defending our intentions.
exactly. Empathy is key here. Instead of dismissing someone's feelings,
Right.
try to understand why they feel that way, even if it seems out of proportion to you.
Put yourself in their shoes.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, this next dodge.
Okay.
I think we've all encountered this one.
Right.
I didn't mean to.
Oh, yeah.
It's the king of minimizing consequences.
It is. It focuses solely on intent and disregards impact.
Oh, interesting.
Like, my heart was in the right place, so it doesn't matter that I hurt you.
Yes. Oh, I have a friend who does this.
I'm sure.
Makes a hurtful joke, and then it's like, oh, lighten up. I didn't mean to offend you. As if it's my fault for being too sensitive.
Right. It shifts the burden
Yeah.
onto the person who was hurt.
Uh-huh.
And it creates that loop of invalidation where expressing your feelings
Right.
is met with further dismissal.
Yeah, like, just get over it.
Yeah.
Ugh, I hate that.
Not a good one.
Okay, this next one, I feel like this is a mind game.
Okay.
That's not what I said or meant.
Welcome to the world of gaslighting.
Oh, is this gaslighting?
This dodge distorts reality and makes you doubt your own memory.
Oh, interesting.
Or perceptions.
Okay.
So it's about making you question yourself.
Oh, it is gaslighting.
It is.
It's so disorienting.
It is. You know what you heard or experienced,
right.
But they're so convincing in their denial that you start to think, am I going crazy?
Am I the crazy one?
Right. It's a powerful tactic for avoiding responsibility.
Yeah.
Because if you can't agree on what happened,
right,
how can you address the issue?
it just leads to those circular arguments.
Endless circular arguments and frustration.
Yes, exactly. And you just feel like you're losing your mind.
You do.
Okay, now for the master of disguise.
Okay.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like an apology.
It does, but it's the non-apology apology.
What does that mean?
The words "I'm sorry" are there, but it lacks genuine remorse.
Okay.
Or acceptance of responsibility.
It's like, I'm not sorry for what I did.
Exactly.
But I'm sorry you're making me feel bad about it.
Exactly. It preys on our desire for validation.
We want to believe they care.
We do. We so badly want to believe that they care.
Yeah.
But by accepting this, they escape accountability.
Yeah.
Never learn from their mistakes.
So they can just keep doing it.
Exactly. And it perpetuates the cycle.
It lets them maintain the status quo.
Yes.
Even if it's not healthy.
Even if it's not healthy.
It's just a subtle way to avoid growth and change.
It is.
Okay, ready for number 8.
I am. Hit me.
This one feels like a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Okay.
Nobody's perfect.
Oh, the fallacy of universal fallibility.
What does that mean?
This attempts to shut down any accountability by appealing to our shared human imperfections.
Oh, so it's like, well, I messed up, but everyone does.
Yeah, why even bother talking about it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's normalizing bad behavior.
Totally.
As if learning and doing better is pointless because we're all flawed anyway.
Right. It's like, well, we're all human, so...
So why bother?
Yeah, so why bother?
Right, and it's using our shared humanity
Yeah.
as a shield against introspection and change.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
And so by accepting this, we're giving permission
Oh.
for them to continue these behaviors.
Without consequence.
Without consequence, yeah.
It's a recipe for stagnation.
It is.
Okay. Number 9 on our accountability dodge list.
All right, lay it on me.
This one's a good one.
Okay.
Let's not dwell on the past.
Yes, the classic escape route.
So yeah,
It dismisses accountability under the guise of forward momentum.
what's done is done. Let's just pretend it never happened.
Yeah, but unresolved issues from the past,
Always impact the present.
they impact the present.
And the future.
And the future. And so this avoidance tactic really hinders real progress. True healing and growth requires acknowledging and processing.
What happened?
What happened? Yeah.
It's like building a house on a foundation with cracks.
Exactly.
Eventually, it will crumble.
It will.
You can't ignore the foundation
You can't.
and expect stability.
Well,
And for our final dodge,
our final dodge, drum roll, please.
we have... I was just joking.
The humor shield.
Oh, yeah.
It uses humor to deflect responsibility.
It makes it seem harmless.
Right, exactly.
But sometimes those jokes are not harmless.
They're not. It minimizes the impact
But-
by reframing it as harmless fun.
Right. It's like, if you make a rude comment
Yeah.
about my appearance or something,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, lighten up, it was just a joke.
Just a joke.
But those jokes can reveal some stuff.
They do.
Underlying biases or insecurities.
Yeah, it plays on our social conditioning
Totally.
to not be too sensitive.
Right.
It's almost like using humor as a weapon
Yeah.
and expecting you to laugh it off
Right.
to maintain social harmony.
So it's not just about dodging accountability,
It's not.
but it's about controlling how people feel.
It's about controlling the emotional narrative.
Wow, we've covered a lot.
We have
It's amazing how many ways we can dodge accountability.
so many.
So many.
It's impressive. It's almost impressive.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm really curious now about the why. Why are people so prone to these tactics?
Wait, that's where things get interesting.
Okay.
These dodges aren't just about being difficult.
Right.
They often stem from deeper psychological needs and fears.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Let's get into it.
Okay. So we explored the Hall of Fame of accountability dodges.
We did.
But now I'm really curious, like, the why behind these tactics.
Right.
You mentioned psychological needs and fears.
Yes.
Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, at the heart of many of these dodges
Hey.
are what we call ego defense mechanisms.
Okay, break that down for me.
Sure.
Like, what are ego defense mechanisms?
These are strategies we all use,
Wow.
often unconsciously, to protect our sense of self-worth and avoid uncomfortable emotions.
Okay.
Think shame, guilt, inadequacy,
Right.
those feelings that we tend to avoid.
We run from those.
Yes, exactly.
So when someone is dodging accountability,
Yeah,
they're trying to protect their ego from taking a hit.
exactly. Accountability can feel like a threat to the ego.
Okay.
Admitting a mistake can trigger
Yeah.
those feelings of vulnerability,
Right.
expose flaws that we'd rather keep hidden.
We want to hide those.
So the ego steps in with defenses,
Okay.
like deflection or denial,
To protect itself.
to maintain a sense of self-preservation.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
It's like that feeling when you mess up and you have to fess up.
yes.
You just want to protect yourself from that discomfort.
You do. And you know, the bigger the mistake, the more elaborate the dodge.
Okay, that's interesting.
Right.
So does that mean people who dodge accountability
Mm-hmm.
are just selfish or narcissistic?
Not necessarily.
Oh, right.
Remember, these are often unconscious processes.
Right.
The person might not even realize they're doing it.
So it's not necessarily malicious.
Exactly. It's not always a conscious act,
Okay.
but a knee-jerk reaction.
So they could be doing this and not even realize.
Absolutely. And that's why
Yeah.
increasing self-awareness is key to breaking these patterns.
Both for ourselves and the people we're dealing with.
That's right.
Bringing those unconscious patterns to light is empowering.
It is, yeah.
So what other psychological factors
Okay.
are at play here?
Shame avoidance is a big one.
Okay.
Admitting fault can bring up that feeling of wanting to disappear,
Like you just want to shrink.
especially if we have deep-seated insecurities or
Yeah.
past experiences of judgment.
Yeah, you just want to hide.
It can be a visceral reaction, and how intensely we react depends on our personal history.
Yeah.
Someone raised in a highly critical environment
Right.
might be more sensitive to shame than someone who grew up with a lot of support.
So understanding those underlying vulnerabilities can help us navigate these situations.
It can. It's about cultivating empathy,
Okay.
recognizing everyone carries their own baggage.
Okay, that makes sense.
Another significant factor is a lack of self-awareness.
Okay.
Sometimes people genuinely don't see their role in a problem.
Oh, interesting.
They're blind to their own patterns of behavior
Okay.
and how those impact others.
So it's not malicious, it's just a lack of insight.
It can be a lack of insight.
Okay.
And this is where gentle feedback and open communication can be helpful.
So by pointing out the impact of their behavior,
Yeah,
we could help them develop more self-awareness.
exactly. It's about creating that safe space for reflection
Without shame.
without shame or attack.
Okay, I like that.
Now, here's one that might surprise you.
So,
The need for control.
control, how does that tie into
Right.
dodging responsibility?
Well, think about it. Taking accountability often means surrendering control of the narrative.
Okay.
We admit that our actions had an impact,
Right.
which can feel like giving up power.
So admitting a mistake might feel like a threat to their authority,
Exactly. They might feel the need to maintain a facade of infallibility,
even at the expense of growth.
even at the expense of authenticity and growth. That's right.
Wow, okay.
So how do we navigate these situations where control is driving the accountability dodge?
Yeah, how do we do that?
One approach is to help them reframe accountability as a strength.
So instead of seeing it as losing control,
Yeah.
it's like taking ownership and demonstrating leadership.
Exactly. Shifting from I'm losing control to I'm taking charge and finding solutions.
Okay, that's a good reframe.
It is.
So we've talked about ego, shame, self-awareness, and control.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
How do these show up in real-life situations?
Let's look at a few specific examples.
Okay.
Let's start with projection.
I've heard that term,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure I fully understand.
Projection is when we attribute our own unacceptable thoughts,
Okay.
feelings, or behaviors onto someone else.
So like, when you point a finger, there are three fingers pointing back at you.
Exactly. It's about externalizing what we don't want to face internally.
Interesting.
For example, imagine a coworker who's constantly accusing others of being lazy and irresponsible.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Right.
How is that projection?
This person might be projecting their own feelings of inadequacy
Oh.
or laziness onto their coworkers.
They're accusing others of their own flaws.
Exactly.
It's like a smokescreen.
It works because it triggers defensiveness.
Yeah.
The focus shifts to defending.
Right.
And we derail any attempt at accountability.
Okay, so projection is tricky.
It is.
What other psychological concepts?
Another one is gaslighting.
Okay.
Which we touched on earlier.
Right.
It's a form of manipulation
No.
that involves making someone doubt their own perceptions, memories, or even sanity.
So it's not just disagreeing, it's making someone question their reality.
Exactly. It sows seeds of doubt, making them feel like they can't trust their own judgment.
That sounds damaging.
It can be. Let's say you confront a friend about a hurtful comment.
Yeah.
Instead of acknowledging the impact, they might say, "You're being too sensitive. I never said that. You must have misheard me."
So they're denying my reality.
They are.
Making me feel like I'm imagining things.
Exactly. They erase your experience and replace it with their own version of events.
So they're rewriting history.
They are. Gaslighting can be incredibly insidious.
It sounds like it.
Makes it hard to assert your boundaries or stand up for yourself.
Because you start to doubt yourself.
You do. You start to doubt your own sanity.
Okay, so we've got projection and gaslighting.
We do.
What's the final concept?
Cognitive dissonance.
Okay.
It's the mental discomfort we experience when our actions contradict our beliefs or values.
Like when you do something you know is wrong.
Yes.
But you try to justify it.
Exactly. That conflict between our actions and our self-image.
Okay.
To resolve that, we engage in mental gymnastics.
To rationalize our behavior.
Exactly.
Like someone who prides themselves on honesty but tells a lie.
Yeah.
But they tell themselves it was for the greater good.
Exactly. It's about protecting our self-concept.
Interesting.
By twisting reality to fit our actions.
Okay, so how does this play into dodging accountability?
When we make a mistake that threatens our self-image, cognitive dissonance kicks in.
We feel that tension.
We feel the tension.
Between our actions and our beliefs.
Exactly.
So to reduce that discomfort,
we
justify our behavior.
We deflect blame. We minimize the consequences.
Right.
It's a way of maintaining a positive self-image without facing the truth.
Our brains are good at protecting us.
They are. Our brains are fascinatingly adept at protecting us from those uncomfortable feelings.
Even if it means distorting reality?
Even if it means distorting reality.
But as we've seen, those self-protective mechanisms can backfire.
They can.
If we're not careful.
Awareness is the first step.
Towards change.
Towards change.
By understanding these psychological drivers, we can recognize these patterns in ourselves and others.
And respond in a way that promotes growth and accountability.
This has been so insightful.
Good, I'm glad.
We've really gone deep into the psychology of accountability dodging.
Deep dive.
But now I'm ready to shift gears.
Okay.
We understand the why.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the how.
The how.
How do we deal with these dodges in real life?
That's a great question, and it's what we'll delve into in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, I'm ready. Give me those ninja-level communication skills.
All right, we'll get tactical.
All right, we've mapped out this whole landscape of accountability dodging. We've seen the classic dodges in action.
Yeah.
And we've explored the psychology.
Oh, why?
Now I'm ready for the toolkit.
Okay.
How do we actually navigate these situations? In real life, give me the ninja-level communication skills.
You got it.
Let's get tactical.
Okay.
Where do we even start?
So one of the most important things,
and
it's easier said than done, is to stay calm.
Okay.
And focused on the issue at hand.
Right, because it's easy to get swept up.
It is.
In that back and forth.
Right. Those emotions can be a smokescreen to distract from the issue.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like that time I tried to talk to my coworker about missing a deadline. And he just launched into a rant about how I never give clear instructions.
Classic deflection. And it works.
Yeah.
Because it triggers our own defensiveness.
Right.
Suddenly we're scrambling to prove we're not the problem.
Right. And the conversation goes nowhere.
Exactly.
So how do we avoid falling into that trap?
So it takes practice. But one strategy is to gently acknowledge their feelings.
Okay.
Without letting them derail the conversation.
Okay.
You can say something like, I hear that you're feeling frustrated. Yeah.
And I understand why. But let's focus on how we can resolve this situation.
So it's about that balance.
It is.
Between empathy and assertiveness.
It is.
I'm acknowledging your feelings.
Right.
But I'm also holding the line.
Yeah.
Staying focused.
Exactly. It's not about being nice.
Right.
Or avoiding conflict. It's about being strategic.
Okay.
With your communication and setting those clear boundaries.
I like that.
And one of the most powerful tools we have for this is using I statements.
Oh, the famous I statements. I've heard about this.
Yes.
Can you remind me why they're so effective?
I statements shift the focus from blame and accusation
Okay.
to expressing your own feelings and experiences.
Okay.
So instead of saying, "You're always so irresponsible,"
Right.
you might say, "I feel stressed and overwhelmed when deadlines are missed."
Okay. So it takes the sting out.
It does.
But the criticism and makes it more collaborative.
Yeah.
We're in this together. Let's find a solution.
Exactly. It invites the other person to empathize.
Oh.
Rather than feeling attacked,
Right.
it opens the door for a more productive conversation.
I love that.
Right.
Okay, this is making so much sense.
Good.
But what if they keep trying to change the subject?
Okay.
Or bring up totally unrelated issues?
Yeah.
Like they just don't want to talk about the problem.
That's where redirection comes in.
Okay.
When they try to deflect gently but firmly guide the conversation back.
Okay.
You can say something like, "I hear you about that other issue.
Yeah.
We can discuss it later.
Okay.
But right now I'd like to focus on this."
So it's like you're setting up those guardrails
You are.
for the conversation.
Exactly.
Love it.
Good.
But what if they're just stubbornly refusing to take responsibility?
Okay.
Like they deny their role even after you've pointed it out.
In those situations, you need to set clear boundaries.
Okay.
You might say, "I'm happy to talk about solutions, but I can't continue this conversation if we keep going in circles."
So sometimes stepping away is the best option.
It can be to show that you're not going to participate
Yeah.
in this dynamic.
Right. It shows you're not willing to participate in something that's unproductive.
This is eye-opening. You're giving me permission to protect myself
Yes.
and my energy,
And sometimes that's the most loving thing.
even if it means walking away.
Yes.
I love that.
It creates space for reflection and hopefully different choices in the future.
What if the person dodging accountability
Okay.
is totally oblivious,
Yeah.
like they genuinely don't see their role in the
Insane.
problem?
That's where compassion and understanding become even more crucial.
Okay.
Sometimes people are unaware of the impact of their actions.
So it's not malicious.
Right. They
Yeah.
might be operating from unconscious biases or ingrained habits.
So it's a lack of self-awareness.
It is. And in those cases, gentle feedback and open communication
It could be really helpful.
can be powerful tools for growth.
Okay.
Focus on expressing how their actions make you feel.
Okay.
Rather than accusing or judging,
Right.
you might say, "Hey, when you do X, it makes me feel Y."
Okay. Framing it as an observation
Exactly.
instead of an accusation.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Good.
But what if they get defensive even after you've given them that feedback?
Change takes time.
Yeah.
It might take several conversations. They might not always respond the way you hope.
Right.
But consistently modeling accountability yourself plants the seed for growth.
So it's not just about calling out other people's dodges.
It's not.
It's about doing our own inner work
It is.
and leading by example.
And that brings us to the bigger picture
Okay.
of why accountability matters.
Yes.
It's not just about avoiding conflict.
Right.
It's the foundation for personal growth and healthy relationships.
And a just society.
Exactly.
Love that.
When we're accountable for our actions,
Uh-huh.
we can identify areas where we need to improve,
Right.
build stronger relationships, and create a more responsible and equitable world.
So accountability is not just about admitting we're wrong. It's about creating a better world.
Beautifully put.
I try.
If you take away just one thing,
Yeah.
let it be this. Accountability isn't punishment.
Right.
It's an opportunity to build something better.
For ourselves and the world around us.
That's right.
That's such a powerful thought.
Yeah.
This whole conversation has been so insightful.
Good. I'm glad.
I feel like I have a new set of tools
Yeah.
to navigate these tricky situations.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And remember, even small shifts in awareness and behavior
Yeah.
can create a ripple effect
They do.
of positive change.
That's right.
Keep practicing, keep questioning, and keep striving
I love that.
for greater accountability in all areas of your life.
Yes.
That's it for a deep dive
That's it.
into accountability dodges.
We did it.
Hope you learned some valuable insights
Yes.
and practical strategies.
I hope so.
As always, thanks for joining us
Thank you.
on this journey of discovery.
It's been fun.